Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talkline, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, Metro News Talkline coming up tomorrow, 10:06, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're here today at the Cam Henderson Center. Marshall on the court, getting warmed up, ready to go against Army. It is the Great 8 of the WNIT. And to tell us more about this tournament and everything that's been happening with the Thundering Herd today is Marshall's Director of Athletics, Gerald Harrison. This has been a fun day for you. You get to make a football announcement that has pleased every Herd fan that I know, and then you've got this. Let's talk about the football announcement first, though. Western Kentucky's back on the schedule. That's been a game that a lot of Herd fans have been asking for, and you were able to get it done.
You know, that was one of the things that we really wanted to do when we started looking at future scheduling, was to get some regional opponents, bring back some history and tradition to our scheduling process. And first it started with Toledo, and now we're going to get we're going to have a great opportunity to get the Hilltoppers back on the schedule. Go over to Bowling Green first, and then they come here to the Joan. Really excited about that. Their AD, Todd Stewart's a good guy. And then we were able to have a really candid conversation and kind of put pen to paper and got it done.
What do you know about Western Kentucky other than what Marshall fans? You have previous experience with them?
Yeah, so we played them when I was at Austin Peay. We scheduled them. Also, my daughter is a sophomore on the basketball team there at Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I think you knew where I was going with that.
Yeah, and so she's already sent me a message, said, I know where the bills are paid, but go Tops. And so she's so it'll be a little bit of a house divided a little bit on that deal, but no, it's a great university, really close. It's a drivable distance for our fans. And I want to do things. We know they can't get every game. Mm-hmm. And I want to get us some games where they can drive to in a day and come out and support the Herd and watch good football.
So a win-win for everyone. You've got the series as a home and home. That's great. Hopefully that means the resumption of this series more long-term. But then, of course, we've got this WNIT to really get into today. And we're in the Elite 8 and talking with some of the players. They are excited to be this deep, be in a tournament like this. What is a tournament like this meant for the program so far, and what do you see the benefit, the value of seeing this team make such a deep run in a tournament like this?
Well, it's a great opportunity for them to continue competing. And then the more you're together, the more the bond. This team has a strong bond. This team had an outstanding regular season and really deserved a chance to continue playing. We got the invite from the WNIT, and it was something after talking with Coach Folks. I said, what do you think? And she said, our ladies want to play. And to do that and have an opportunity to play, this will be the second game of this tournament inside the Cam in front of our fans. Ticket sales are going well. That's great for them, not just the seniors that continue to play, but for our recruiting process and everything else, because they realize that Marshall is truly committed to women's basketball, and they got a great team with Coach Folks.
Explain to me this bracket, how this seeding works, or who determines who gets the home game. How does that process work? Are you bidding on home games? How do you figure out who gets the host when the teams are really not seeded truly?
Right. So, yes, the answer to your question is we bid. You get to bid for home games. There's a minimum that you got to guarantee to get into, to host. Now, to get in the tournament, you get in on your merit and your willingness to perform. And so the teams, we had 23 wins at the end of the regular season. So we're a highly sought-after team. And so it's like, are you willing to play? And then they ask you, okay, well, here's what it will take to host. And, we're going to play anytime we can run in our gym, we want to do that. And so it's great. We had some fiscal commitments from our donor base and people who really love this women's basketball program. So we were able to bid on a few games, and the further we advance, the more we'll bid on.
Now, does that mean if this team advances to the Final Four or advances to the championship game, is that hosted at a neutral site, or is that a home game potentially for the Thundering Herd?
It's like an old school conference basketball tournament. If you bid for it and win it, you get to host it. And so there's no guarantees, right? Because whoever wins on the other side can bid as well. And but with our record and what we've done in our attendance, I think we got a great shot. We pulled this off today to host into the Final Four.
Okay, so it's not you're not bidding to outbid the other team. It's merit. Okay, we want to host. The other team wants to host, and so based on merit, maybe does that help?
Yeah,
the bid?
Merit helps. It's you know, I mean, I don't know. I guess if somebody came out and said, I'll pay $100,000 for a game,
okay,
I'll tip my hat to them and let them go on and host the game. But no, it's really a combination of being able to cover the expenses of the tournament and the merit. And this team has definitely deserved it. And probably us and Arkansas State are right there with some, the Sun Belt's shining bright in this tournament.
So it's important the Herd fans show up. Come out tonight. If Marshall advances, come out for that Final Four game and that championship game. If the game is held here, come out. That's the big thing that'll help you.
Right. It'll help us, and you know what it does? It helps us long term because it makes a statement that Marshall will support basketball well into the postseason, and therefore when other opportunities come, and we get better teams that want to come in to play us here at the Cam. It just sends a huge sign that this place is about the business of basketball. And they want to host and do these great things, and so we'll get more invites.
And, of course, the WNIT, a lot more prestigious than maybe some of the other tournaments that are available out there. Is that a goal for you? You have a red line that, okay, if it's not the NCAA tournament, the WNIT is a preferred destination.
And that's the line.
Okay, that's the line. Okay, perfect.
And that's the line. And I think our student athletes understand it. But the great thing for us right now is there's only few teams that get an opportunity to end it on a positive note, and the Herd has that chance. And we want to give our team a chance to end on a positive note, especially when there's a season like this where they deserve that opportunity.
And speaking of the opportunity, speaking with the players, with transfer portal, a lot of these players could have just said, okay, hey, it was great, thank you for everything, we're going elsewhere. That didn't happen with Julie Folks and this team.
And that just speaks to how Coach Folks has kept this team together, the bond her staff has with the student athletes. We had 6 seniors on senior day. They all could have stopped. They had players who all could have gotten in the portal. They could have said, we are going to go. But they didn't because they wanted to finish something. They wanted to play. And that speaks to Marshall. And that speaks to our community and how they believe in what we're doing here. And they want to finish and leave the right way. And that's just a tremendous testament to the young ladies on the team.
Thundering Herd and Army coming up tonight here at the Henderson Center. Should Marshall win, how soon would we know if Marshall would host the next game?
Hopefully we should. Lately it's been pretty much after the game's over with.
Okay.
I'll get a text message, or Andrew Brown, who's our tournament coordinator and does our bidding for the athletics department, they'll text him and say, okay, you got it. And so hopefully we'll know soon after the game's over with.
There's a potential Marshall, Arkansas State.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal if it's those two.
It is a big deal. It is a big deal. It's a Sun Belt game. It was a barn burner before. I think that'll be a great game, and I'm pretty sure the ladies would love to see that.
That would be a tremendous. That would probably have a lot more interest. Not to say that people wouldn't be interested in Marshall versus Cleveland State, but I'm sure secretly everyone's rooting for Arkansas State to be on the other side if that's what the bracket's going to look like.
I tell people all the time, I peek toward that, but I just want to go and get. I love the Army and thank them for their service and everything else. But tonight, for this 2 hours, I need the Herd to run over the Army.
Absolutely. Gerald Harrison's with us, the athletic director of Marshall University, taking on Army tonight and the WNIT. And we've been talking a little bit about this tournament and just how important a tournament like this is for the basketball team. Would you like to see more opportunities like this for some of the other sports that maybe get overlooked at the NCAA tournament level? Could you see a time where something like this for other sports is viable the way it is for the NIT on both the men and women's side?
I would, because what's happened now, there's such a emphasis put on the autonomy for conferences. And so you could take a mediocre team, 500 team or below, and put them in a tournament because they use strength of schedule, they'll use all the stuff that's not fair for the group of 6 to have to deal with. And so there needs to be another section of an opportunity there. Now, it's got to be fiscally responsible and manageable for the schools, but if we have a great year, right now we're off to a great start in softball, right? And let's say we don't win the conference. I would love to see our softball team have a chance to go to the postseason. They're that good. Coach Zirkle's done a great job. So those opportunities are important. And until we get our business of college athletics together, and I think we need to have these kind of opportunities for people to continue to play.
Is that where some of your peers are looking at as well, as far as making sure that all of this is viable and a little bit more manageable? Because you've been around a while now. You know how it used to be with athletic departments. And, it used to be we got to build the biggest facilities. Mm-hmm. We got to have the biggest this, biggest that. And maybe short term that was sustainable, but long term it's about the health and well-being and the responsibility that you owe to these student athletes. So it seems it's gotten a little bit away from that now, trying to make sure that you can offer more opportunities. And like this event tonight here, I mean, not everybody's playing basketball still. There's not that many teams left.
No, you're exactly right. And the focus where facilities was the biggest thing, even in football, you see people spending $90, $100, $110 million facilities and tracks that are being built for $70 million. Nowadays, when you got revenue sharing, you got to make sure that you're providing all the resources and everything the student athletes need. Those type of luxuries are not your focus. Now, there's things you got to do to fix and improve. I mean, the Henderson Center is an older building. I would love to get the air conditioning and add HVAC added to the building. But we're going to do it knowing still, though, our priority has got to take care of the student athletes and getting the best student athletes in here we possibly can get.
Game is tonight, 6 o'clock, and if Marshall should win, we should find out a little sooner than later if Marshall would host. And, of course, probably the first place that we can find that out will be either herdzone.com or you on X.
Well, you know what? I kind of got in trouble with the sports information people. I guess I text see you in the Cam, and it became the announcement. So it helped my Twitter followings, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, you know what? It's about engagement. It's about, social media, all of that.
Yeah. No, that was funny. It was. And you know what I should have, and I'm thinking about it, you know what I should have tweeted. I guess you don't tweet X anymore. What I should have done is put out, I am fortunate to be able to do an interview live at a sporting event with a lifetime achievement winner.
Oh, you saw that. Oh, you saw that.
I have been made aware of the situation.
You saw that. I wasn't going to talk about it because it's about you today.
No. It's about us. So we always say, what's the herd? You are a part of the herd as well, and you deserve your flowers. So when you get an award like that, you can say lifetime achievement. Let me tell you, there's not an athletic director in the country who think they're going to get that. So your longevity is going to be longer than mine. So I
don't know about that. Okay. I made you proud. I want to let you know I made you proud.
All right.
Okay, so the event was the Virginia's Associated Press Broadcasters.
Okay.
And what Gerald's talking about, if you haven't seen it yet, I was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award, West Virginia Lifetime Achievement Award. And I had to go up on stage, give just a few minutes speech. And we're in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Oh, you got to love that.
I'm in Harrisonburg, Virginia. We're in the Hotel Madison. So I'm in the room, and there's James Madison's portrait over my bed.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm like, no, I'm covering that up. So I'm covering that up, and I'm there with, first of all, you'll love this. South Alabama was there. I think we played in softball, and they're asking us, hey, who are you rooting for? Oh, we're rooting for South Alabama. So first and foremost, but I'm on stage. I'm in front of a majority of James Madison, media, all of this.
Right.
And I said, oh, by the way, since I'm in JMU country and I'm a Marshall grad, go Herd. And then I got the heck off the stage.
I'm surprised I didn't see it.
No. Well, I'd already got the award, so I could have hit exit stay right and let it go.
Did you drive?
We drove, yes.
That's good, because if you needed a ride back from them, they probably wouldn't have given you
I had the vehicle. I'm ready to go, warm, just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Fair enough.
It was a combination of West Virginia and Virginia media, so I had some cover.
Okay, you're good then.
I had some cover.
You're good then, but that was a well-deserved. In a short period of time, in my 8 months, your name comes up quite often.
Good, I hope.
Yeah, most times, unless Ryan Crisp tells me about it. then it's 50-50.
I would love to hear what Ryan Crisp says. I want to be on that meeting, or just like he doesn't know. I'm in on that Zoom call, ghosting. Like, okay, what's Chris really say about me?
Oh gosh, he said all great things.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. I'm
anytime.
excited. This is going to be great.
It is a great time. I'm excited to be here, excited to be on the air with you. I see people coming in the stands. We got 1,700 tickets out as of 8 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
And so that's a great number. We got 150-something student tickets out that they got in advance, so we don't know who's just going to show up. So the Cam should be pretty rocking tonight, and we're really excited about it.
Hopefully we have another opportunity or two to be back here at the Cam Henderson Center for a Final Four appearance and a championship appearance.
Let's do it.
That would be impressive. Your first few months as the athletic director, you're already hoisting some championship hardware. That's the dream of every athletic director.
It is, and I look forward to that. And I want you, when we get that done, I'm going to have to remind President Smith about that and see if I can get a bonus for it.
Okay, I'll put that word out. I'll point it out. You know what? Since I'm sure he's listening, I'm friends with Bill Cornwell, his guy, so I'm sure he's listening. I think we can get that message out.
No. If we do, I'm going to have to put it in the rev share because that's what I want. Get more players so we can win more championships.
I love it. Thank you, sir, for coming by, and we'll hopefully be back here soon to talk about another game, and let's get that championship.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
Gerald Harrison, the athletic director of Marshall University. We will come back. Get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue here from the Cam Henderson Center. Paul Swann, your host, on this edition of The Drive. If you're not here and you're not going to be here, well, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, you can turn on ESPN Plus and hear Bobby Iddings. You've got Ben Westfall down there with you as well. Going to be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, it should be really fun. I think I heard a little bit ago, right around 2,000 tickets were sold for this tonight. One of the better crowds this team will see all season. Saw about 2,000 people that are out in Youngstown on Friday night for Marshall and the Penguins, and really Marshall able to quiet those Penguins fans too. So it's really fun. Just a real cool atmosphere. Just you get to see some postseason basketball. Not the NCAA tournament that this team wanted, of course, but still you're playing basketball into late March and April.
Always the goal, get into the NCAA tournament. But in a tournament like this, you have a legitimate shot to go on a run and really play some meaningful basketball late in the year and hoist some hardware. And a tournament like the WNIT, it's not the NCAA tournament, but it's prestige-wise, it's only a notch below. Nothing else that's out there right now is above the WNIT other than the NCAA tournament. So that's meaningful basketball being played.
Yeah, you got the WBIT, which this year is where Troy and Georgia Southern went, of course, from the Sun Belt. Marshall and Arkansas State still alive in this WNIT as well. So, look, at this point, and Julie Folks is talking, when we've talked about it, she said, hey, look, we want to keep playing. She said, after tonight, you think about it, there's going to be 4 women's basketball teams left in the NCAA tournament. There's going to be 4 teams left in the WNIT. She's like, hey, we just want to be one of the last 15 teams playing. That's what we want to be. At this point, that's our mindset. And she said this team really enjoys being around each other. They enjoy playing together. And you just look at what this team's been able to do this season. Coming off of the season last year, it was disappointing for them, 15-20. Now you get to a spot where you're 25-9 overall in the year. And I ran the numbers today too, Paul, and this is something David O'Leary from the Sports Information Department and I we're going back and forth about just to make sure. This is the winningest 4-year run in Marshall women's basketball history. 83 wins in 4 years. So that means Ariana Redmond, Peyton Ilderton, Meredith Mayer. That's your winningest senior class that they've ever had. And they want to keep that going. They don't want that to stop. They want to get all the way to 86.
Hopefully, in a few days, we'll have a championship game here. But first, Marshall's got to get past Army. What have you seen from them, and what makes them so good in this tournament so far?
Yeah, what Army does is they play defense. And shocker, right? Army's defending, right? Like that's just kind of what they do. But you look at what this team's done on the year. They're 8th in the country in defense, only allowing 55 points per game. They've given up less than 60 points on the year 21 times. They're 20-1 in those games. That's what they're going to do. They're going to play defense. They were really good within that Patriot League. It was a good Patriot League. Navy got upset in the Patriot League semifinals, lost to Lehigh. They were the number 1 seed. And then, of course, Army lost to Holy Cross in the semifinals as well. But this Army team plays really, really good defense. They've got a couple shooters. They got a trio of players that can really play. Kaya Smith on the inside, She leads the team in points, rebounds, and assists. She's the leader on the inside, but also Cameron Tade. She averages 13 points per game. She was first team All-Patriot League, also first team All-Defense. And then after that, you got Reese Erickson. She's a sharpshooter. She's top 40 in the NCAA. She's 40% from the outside. So this is a team that's got a little bit of everything. They got some inside presence. They've got a player that can drive the basket. They got a player that can shoot from the outside. But what they did do, they gave up points in the paint to LaSalle. 28 points in the paint, only 24 for Army. You saw Marshall live in the paint against Youngstown State. Its first 20 in that game came inside the painted area. You got to think early, Marshall's going to try and do that once again.
Thundering Herd taking on Army tonight here at the Cam Henderson Center. Bobby Iddings joining us, ESPN Plus, the broadcast for those of you that can't make it tonight. Is this Marshall Thundering Herd team playing its best basketball of the year? What would you say compared to what you've seen earlier in the season?
Well, think about that break, that huge break this team had. They had a break of 16 days between the end of the Sun Belt Conference tournament and the 23rd when they played UMBC last Monday. That break allowed them, I think, just get their legs back under. You look at Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, Meredith Mayer, Peyton Elderton. At this point of the year, if you're not nursing an injury, why not? Is basically the thought process. Everybody's got banged up, everybody's beat up, and this team has been able to kind of fight through those injuries at this point. You saw Tamaya Lewis-Utsi limping at the end of that Youngstown State game on that broadcast. Everybody's banged up, but everybody's gotten healthy at this point too. So this is a team that I would say, they played a 26-point win against a team that had 20-plus wins on the year, which is what you saw. It shows why the Sun Belt is the 6th best basketball conference by RPI in all of the NCAA, and they're kind of showing that right now. And you look at the Arkansas State side, you could have 2 of the 4 teams in the Sun Belt, in the WNIT Final Four, Fab Four is what it's called, that are represented by the Sun Belt between Marshall and Arkansas State.
I know Gerald Harrison looking forward to a Marshall game possibly here against Arkansas State. That should hopefully boost the ticket sales, which have already been really good. I'm sure a lot of Herd fans would love to see that one again, but we can't look forward to that until we get past Army today. And I've been impressed with this team because when I was looking at the Youngstown State score, first I didn't get to watch it live, so I'm following along and I see the score and I'm like, wait a minute, they're absolutely running away with this. Were you surprised by that a little bit?
I think what I was surprised by was the domination that Marshall exhibited in that game. The 26-point win. It was a game which Marshall was able to really, really beat up Youngstown State. And those middle 2 quarters, and you hear the middle 8 talked about sometimes in college basketball. But those middle 2 quarters, period, the middle 20, we'll call them, Marshall was able to hold Youngstown State just 8 for 33 from the field, outscored them 37-20. That's where their bread was buttered, was in those 2, that second and third quarter. That's where they were really able to kind of separate themselves. You get a couple threes, you get Tamaya Lewis-Utsi getting downhill. That's the key. If Marshall can get Tamaya Lewis-Utsi downhill, you think about what that does. You get her moving downhill into the paint, that opens up your outside shooters. You have to collapse down on her in the paint. She kicks it out to the wide open shooters on the outside, the Peyton Eldertons, the Meredith Mayers, the Cassie Ingrams, your shooters from the outside. But also, one thing I'll point out, Timberland East is playing her best basketball of the year. 5 straight games in double figures for this team. She has really provided a huge boost for this team, and that's part of what you've been able to see. When people have been banged up, it's allowed her to really go to the bucket, and she's been able to produce as well.
Bobby Iddings is with us. And again, he's going to have a game. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. Now, we'll find out if Marshall wins tonight. We should find out pretty soon if Marshall would play host to either Arkansas State or Cleveland State. Of course, Herd fans are probably shooting for Arkansas State. We already know one half of the other side, South Dakota getting the victory over Montana State. And tonight, we're going to find out if it's going to be either George Washington or Illinois State on the other side. This has been a fun tournament. As I was talking to Gerald, how's this work? How's the bracket work? this is old school. You win, you potentially continue to host. We could see a championship here, Bobby.
Yeah, it's been a couple years, right? 2019 and on the Marshall men's side when they were in the CIT. Obviously, that was the last year of John Elmore, the last game of John Elmore for that team as well. He broke the scoring record in that CIT as well. Meredith Mayer's got a chance to eclipse 1,000 points in her career. Is Marshall, she's 36 away, so about 12 points per game as she pushes towards that 1,000-point marker in her career. If she makes 2 threes tonight, she can slide herself, into second place all time in a single season in three-pointers made for Marshall. So there's a lot of things out there, right? Tamaya Lewis-Utsi as well on the season for her. She's got 660 points, third most ever in program history in a single season. Only Kieran Pelfrey, who's got her name up in the rafters here at the Henderson Center. So it's been a really impressive season for Tamaya Luasutsi, and I'll say it, and I've said it once, I'll say it again. The player of the year should have been hers. No disrespect to Kashia Anderson at Georgia Southern, but Tamaya Luasutsi has just meant that much to this Marshall team.
Do you think she's playing with a little chip on her shoulder?
I think she's a competitor. And I think and if you talk to her, she's never going to admit it. I asked her after the last game, I said, hey, when you go downhill and you get to the bucket, I said, you just finished. How do you do it so well? And I asked her, I was like, someone beating you with pool noodles in practice? Is it yoga? What is it? And she said, she's like, I just have to contort my body. I'm aware. Basically, she gave me a physics lesson. She's like, I'm aware of where my body is in the air, and I know how to finish, and I know where to put it up off the glass. It was pretty impressive to listen to this kind of that high-level IQ from a basketball player.
You'll have the call coming up. You got to get on the air in, 18 minutes or so, give or take?
Yeah, something like that.
And you'll be on the call with Ben Westfall, and hopefully we're talking to you in a few days about the next opponent, possibly Arkansas State, and then we're possibly talking to you about South Dakota or either George Washington or Illinois State. I know, I can't get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Let's get past Army tonight.
Yeah, one step at a time, and then we'll see what Wednesday could bring.
Thank you for coming by tonight. I know you had to get ready for the game. I appreciate it always.
No problem, Paul. Thank you.
Bobby Iddings joining us when we continue. Hey, Tim Stevens, he's been around since the beginning of Marshall women's basketball against Army. Thundering Herd played Army, first game ever here at the Henderson Center. It wasn't on the women's side, it was the men's side, but still, first game ever.
The head coach of Army at that time, a guy named Pete Godet. You know who he replaced at Army?
Tell me.
Mike Krzyzewski.
Oh, right. And Tim Stevens was here for that first game.
Hey, there you go.
Wow. We're going to get him. We're going to wrangle him up in a minute. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you coming by.
Thanks, Paul.
More coming up on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We're back here at the Cam Henderson Center. Paul Swann, your host. Hey, we've got longtime HD media reporter Tim Stevens joining us. And as I've been joking around, he was here the first time Army ever played against Marshall at the Cam Henderson Center. It was on the men's side. It was 1981. Bill Cornwell had to correct me. He had to correct me, but it was 1981, so you get a year back, Tim.
Good. I'll take every year I can get.
You get the year back. But this old barn has seen some basketball, and now we're seeing the Great 8 matchup between Marshall and the Army ladies. That's coming up tonight, 6 o'clock. Just how important is this in your mind, where Marshall basketball has been, where it's gone, and then where it's back again at?
Oh, it's really huge, and you talked to Julie Fawkes about it yesterday. She was just almost giddy that they got to play this deep into the season and that they can go tell recruits, hey, we're still playing. We're one of the 5% of the teams that are still playing. It's what she has been telling recruits, and she's right. And yeah, it's not the NCAA tournament, but the WNIT still a good event, and for Marshall to go this deep in it so far, and probably will be favored tonight. That's an enormous recruiting tool for them. These girls, these women, they get to play together at least one more time. The fans, it's a good crowd showing up, it looks like. It's just really a no-lose situation.
So it's really a leg up for this team, for this program, to still be playing over some of the other teams that are in the Sun Belt that aren't playing right now.
Right, it's like a bowl game, too. In football, we're a bowl game, you get 15 extra practices. Well, Marshall's getting 3 weeks extra practices, especially for these young kids who haven't played a lot, who are going to need to step up next year. This is huge for them. That's it's another month of playing together, another month of practices. That's going to benefit them next year.
And it's been something that the donors, the boosters, the support system that Marshall has really had to get behind to make sure that Marshall could play this game, especially with the new landscape that the budget presents itself with. The fact that Marshall's able to host and that there are people that are underwriting this. I mean, it helps if you bring yourself to the game tonight here. Ticket sales will help, the endeavor, but still, how viable are these going to be in the future with budgets the way they are?
Oh, it's tough. We've seen here with swimming and diving being cut and then reinstated. It's a tough financial culture. But if Marshall didn't figure they could make at least a little bit of money or not lose very much money on this, then they're going to bid on it enough to get a home game. Youngstown poured everything it could into it to get a home game last week, and Herd went out there and spanked the Penguins. But they wore them out pretty good. But Marshall's. Just like they did in 1AA football. They think they can make some money on a home game, so they put some money into it. They make a strong bid and gamble that people will show up, and they are. There's a really good crowd here already. 8 minutes before tip-off?
Yeah, that's the thing. Their fans are showing up to support this team, and the women's team maybe doesn't have the large at the arena following that the men do, but we've seen over the last couple of years that's growing, and if this team gets hot or goes on a major run towards something, we'll see the Herd fans. I guarantee you, if Marshall gets into the Fab Four, Marshall will have a bigger crowd than we have here now if it's the hosting.
Oh, absolutely so. And it's always been that way. The men outdraw the women, most places, not all, but most places. That's just the way it is in college sports, college basketball. But 2 years ago here, when Marshall started out slowly under Kimball Caldwell, and then they started winning. Boom, we had more than 2,000 people in here, and that wasn't a promotion night. That was just a regular crowd, And so people like winners, and Julie's doing a really good job here, I think, with this team, and they're winning, and it's a fun program to watch. A good brand of basketball, so people will show up for that, and when they do, that puts more money in the coffers, and you can do more things.
She's had a long career, over 400 wins. All of that shows her resume is legit, and it's been at a lower level, and she jumps up to Division I level, and the first year got them going late, but that tournament is designed to murder you in the conference. And then I think the layover, the injuries, all of that killed them in this tournament. But she's been slowly and quietly, not a flash in the pan, not quick fire, and here we go. But it's been slowly building into, okay, the Herd's going to be a contender every year. It's going to be a contender every year. Just how giddy is she right now, knowing that, okay, my second year, I've got him here. And I know she's not comparing her journey to anyone else, but not a lot of coaches can say, hey, in my second year, I got him to this point. And then, hey, we can springboard to this point.
Right. She's doing a wonderful job. And that's how she recruits, too. It's not just, okay, so we can win this year, and now we've got to replace 10 kids, like Louisiana had to do. That doesn't work. She's recruited, Tamaya's a one-year player, but she's a very special talent. You look at the rest of her recruits, and they're all sophomores, junior transfers, that kind of thing. So she's building a program, and I am a strong proponent of bringing up coaches from the lower levels. You look at Stan Parrish and George Tomp, where they came from to turn around Marshall football, and that works. You don't have to be a major college Division I assistant to come turn a program around.
And this isn't a slight against Kim Caldwell, but I don't think Kim – Kim was going to Tennessee. That opened up – we knew it.
Yes.
That was her dream job. She did not hide the fact. So,
right. And you can't blame her.
You can't blame her.
No.
She is finding out how tough it is, but you have a coach like Julie. I don't think that she's looking right away, okay, I'm going to be here a couple years at Marshall. I'm out of here.
Right.
Yeah, she could be here 6, 8, 10 years. She could be here for 3 years and be gone, or she could be here 6, 8, 10. But I get a feeling from her that, okay, I want to build something here. I really want to elevate this, and I want to do it the long-term way and the right way. Is that the impression you get from talking to her that, I'm not here for a short time?
Right. She's enjoying living here. She is, and she was at Western Oregon for a while, and she was at Transylvania for a while, for several years in both cases, and now she's here now. If the Ohio State job opens and they want her, she's an Ohio girl, sure. Yeah, you got to take that. But I don't think she's going to leave here for Creighton or Western Carolina or something like that. She has a good thing going here, and she knows it. And I think unless it's a really bigger, attractive job, a whole lot of money, that she's going to stay here.
Hopefully, if Marshall can win and Arkansas State can beat Cleveland State, then we could possibly have a Sun Belt semi, and then South Dakota is waiting for Illinois State and George Washington.
Yes, that ought to be. Speaking of George Washington, he was here in that 1981 Army game that I covered, Yeah, he played for Marshall, though. He's George Washington, kid out of Brooklyn, New York.
Tim Stevens joining us, and of course we're just a few minutes away from tip time, and if Marshall should play in the great, the Fab Four. Yeah. The Fab Four. We don't have a time set for that, but that will be between, and they're saying in the bracket the 31st to the 1st.
Yeah, so it won't be tomorrow.
It won't be tomorrow, but the championship game will be played on 4/4 at 3 p.m. So we could possibly have a championship game on next Saturday.
I'd vote for that. And 3 p.m. is good. That makes deadline easy.
Right, 3 p.m. And that's well before Tyler Kennett's bedtime. So
indeed it is.
Yes. Tim, good talking to you.
My pleasure, brother, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much.
It's terrific.
We're here at the Cam Henderson Center, just a few minutes away from tip-off, and of course, hopefully, the Thundering Herd will be right back at it here in the next couple of days. And of course, the other big story today, and you know what? While we've got a second, let's see if we can get Tyler to come on real quick. I know I'm just throwing a headphone at him because Tyler's specialty is the Thundering Herd football beat, and Gerald Harrison is the most popular guy going on today.
Yeah, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Western Kentucky. You've heard of them, right?
Yes.
Sure. Isn't that crazy? We're here at the women's game, and it's loud.
Yeah, it's crazy. Still be playing this late in the year. I mean, unless you go to UConn, you don't see this very often. So that's crazy. Very good news.
But great story coming from you. Marshall's getting to play Western Kentucky in football, and that's huge. That makes Gerald a very popular athletic director for getting that series back.
Oh yeah, that was one of the biggest rivalries, at least when I was a student, around 18 to 22. A few years before that, they played every year from 14 to 21. You kind of thought they were going to join the Sun Belt for a little bit, but then Louisiana Tech gets the spot instead. Very exciting, I think, for a lot of fans. People really want to play Western Kentucky. It's always a big game. And to see it come back, even though it's in a distant future, is very, very good.
Yeah, hopefully the Thundering Herd can get that series going. Of course, we're getting set for the national anthem here at the Henderson Center. So we will whisper as the anthem is being performed. But what an amazing accomplishment for Marshall women's basketball, just to be at that point where you're still playing and you're getting a great crowd here for a WNIT game, which is not the NCAA tournament, but it's still a very prestigious tournament.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, this crowd, parking, I'm up in like the 5th floor of the parking garage, so probably over 2,000. Very good. Very good crowd.
I had to get here early just to get a good parking spot, and
absolutely.
And that's tremendous. So we are about out of time, and of course, we'll read more about the game story coming from you and Tim Stevens, and of course, more on the series announcement between Marshall and Western Kentucky. Yep. And hopefully, we can get more winners like that. Just more of a, I don't want to say a regional schedule, but this opponents that if you're going to play out of conference, you got to take your money game now and then, but let's get some opponents on the schedule that really make sense and Herd fans can get to.
Yeah, the Sun Belt talks a lot about how they want to go for the regional rivalries, so very good to see the non-conference schedule play into that as well for Marshall.
Yeah, the only thing that would make that better if eventually we could get Western Kentucky back in the Sun Belt.
Would be great. Would be awesome.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not.
But as it stands right now, if if that Louisiana Tech thing doesn't work out, maybe that Western Kentucky standby team will be ready to go.
Yeah, they're in the courts. I think La Tech's cool for what they bring in the Olympic sports for sure. Would love to see Western in basketball. Both sides are usually very good, but definitely good to see them. I mean, you never know. I mean, the Sun Belt probably looked at Louisiana Tech because of the non-conference that we're probably being arranged with the Louisiana schools. So you have a little bit here and there to take from it. And I would say Western would probably be on the next part of the list. I'm not Keith Gill, I have no clue, but they used to be in the conference, same with Louisiana Tech, etc.
We got to get ready for tip-off. We're out of time. Thanks, brother, for coming by.
Yeah.
We will do it again soon. That's going to do it for this edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.